Awesome. So the title of my speech is obviously who I am and why I'm here. Thank you, Vesna. Hello to all the Toastmaster family and the welcome guests. It's an honor to talk to you and just to share my heart with you a little bit tonight. I think when I started to think about my icebreaker speech, obviously you get really nervous. And so after obviously I turned to Google because that's how you search anything now. It's the basic form of a speech. And after about 2 or 3 hours of searching Google, I finally remembered, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be looking up my speech and what I'm supposed to do for a speech. So then I actually had to start doing it. But I think I didn't want to just state facts about myself. I wanted to maybe dig a little bit deeper with you guys. And the reason why I titled my speech the way it is because it's a very deep question for me, and I wanted to pose that question for you guys as well. Why are you here and who are you? And so obviously I'll give a brief introduction. My name is Ian, as Vesna said. I'm 33 years old, and I grew up in a two-parent Christian home, which I thought was common, having two parents growing up, but it's not as common as I once thought. My parents did their best to raise their three kids. I have an older brother and a younger sister. And I found it really interesting how they raised us. They raised us individually based on our personalities. So for my brother, it was very much, all you had to do was tell him the rules. These are the rules. And he was good. That worked for him. He's like, okay, I know exactly where the boundaries are. And I'm sure some of you can relate with your kids. And for my younger sister, her obeying the rules was very much a result of her desire for love and acceptance from my parents. And then when it came to me as the middle child, the rules were very liquid for me. And so it would be, don't touch the stove because it's hot and it will burn you. And for me, immediately, I'm like, well, how hot is the stove? How fast am I? Can I touch the stove so fast that it won't burn me? How long can I leave my hand on there until it burns me? So there was definitely a lot of inculpatory evidence against me growing up, that's for sure. And I think my point in sharing that is just that even in this group, all of us have different personalities and we have a different mode of thinking and a different way of being. And that makes each one of us important and unique. And we all have something special to offer the world, and we get to explore those things here at Toastmasters. So every day that we wake up is another opportunity to figure out how we're going to answer that question of who am I and why am I here? And so I have kind of three main questions that I ask myself when I'm answering that question. And it's part of the reason why I joined Toastmasters in December, is because of that question and where I see myself going. And so the first question that I want to ask you guys, that I often ask myself, is what do you want people to say about you when you die? Because for me, I want people to say that I gave them hope and that I helped them move forward in life, that I inspired them, and that I set a great example of what a true husband and a father and a man really looks like. And this is a great exercise, and I encourage you to ask yourself that same question often. The second question that I ask myself most often is, what am I the most afraid of? And for me, I'm seriously the most afraid of, more than alligators and snakes and other deadly animals that we've talked about in previous sessions. I'm most afraid of living a mediocre life, to be honest. A life where I don't continue to grow in body and soul and spirit, and where I don't impact the people around me for good. A life that I wouldn't be proud of and satisfied with at the end by becoming the best me possible and helping other people become the best versions of themselves as possible. Something I think often fear can actually drive us and become a force for good in our lives. And so I think that it's a good question to ask, and how we can reframe what we're most afraid of and turn it into something that brings positivity into our life. And the third question that I often ask myself to answer that main question of who am I and why am I here is, how far can I go? So I want to ask that question to you. How far can you go? So whether you choose to or not, I just invite you to close your eyes and imagine yourself at the end of your life, having lived a long life and having done all that you could have dreamed of doing. What did you do? What did you accomplish? Who did you impact? What does that feel like? For me, that looks like a big family, and that everyone gets along, that we all love each other, that my wife and I have impacted thousands or hundreds of thousands of people through living a generous, full, giving, joyful, exploring and risking life. Like, for me, that is what a fulfilled life looks like. So obviously, if your eyes are closed, I can't see you right now, but you can open your eyes back up. This meeting isn't long enough, or it's not the right time to seriously sit down and ponder these questions. But nevertheless, I want to give you a glimpse of what really drives me. So I encourage you to take some time after this call, maybe, or in the next couple of days, and ask yourself, what do I want people to say about me when I die? What am I most afraid of, and how can that be turned into something positive in my life? And how far can I really go? How big can I dream? And I think that our Toastmasters group isn't necessarily just a group of people trying to increase our public speaking skills or our training. It's actually an opportunity for us to invest in ourselves and into each other, because we all get to be part of each other's lives. I get to be a part of each of your who am I and why am I here life stories. And that is who I am, and that is why I'm here. Thanks for listening.